Swinburne University of Technology.
Hi there! I'm going to show you step by step how to write your reflection using the STAR format. So let's begin. The S stands for situation, T stands for task, A stands for action, and R stands for results. By following this format, it gives you the chance to choose a skill and activity you want to write about and communicate it more effectively and engagingly. Many employers and recruiters use this technique for forming questions on applications and also in job interviews. For example, during a job interview, the employer might ask you, "Did your trip to India benefit you in any way?" So let's begin by writing ourselves an example of a STAR format. If you are writing this for the Swinburne Emerging Leader program, then first of all, pick a skill from the employability skills category. In this case, we're going to choose communication skills for our first example. For situation, describe the nature of the project, your purpose, who was impacted, and why you think it was critical. For example, during my study tour to India, my job was to effectively communicate with the people whose first language was Tamil and not English. It wasn't the easiest thing to do. For task, describe your specific responsibilities and what you needed to achieve. For example, during my stay in one of the local towns, I was talking to the local people the same way as I would back home. I realized that this way of talking was misunderstood and confusing to them, which I could see from their blank faces. My task was to change the way I spoke to effectively converse with the locals. For action, talk about how you approached the project, the steps you took to execute the project, and how you overcame problems and obstacles using your experience and skills. Use examples to show not just what you know, but also how you applied your knowledge and skills. So for example, I decided to simplify the way I was conversing by working on speaking clearly, not too fast, and by enunciating the words. I would use simple words, simple phrases, and use hand gestures to communicate my message. I could see from their facial expressions, their nodding and smiles, that they understood me. And lastly, share the results. Include the specific benefits and impacts you achieved. For example, my experience in this country, where English was not my first language, allowed me to reflect on how I changed my approach and learnt new ways to get not just the locals, but myself included to communicate and understand one another. I could see that my new method had benefited me in communicating. I was able to see the positive impact I was making by not just using simpler words, but the inclusion of body language, hand gestures, and facial expressions. And there we have it, a completed STAR reflection. Now before you finish up, remember these important tips. Try to use as many action words as you can. These will make your story stand out to set yourself apart from all the others. Tell a clear story by describing what was done, how it was done, and why it was done. Remember to reflect on what you learnt by gaining or developing that employability skill and how that helped you to accomplish a task and how it helped you with your future career prospects. You may also reflect on how your experience developed you personally through your values and how you grew to be more self-aware based on your experience. Lastly, don't forget to read over it a couple of times. Check for spelling and grammar, and even get someone to read over it, just in case you missed something. You can also download yourself the PDF guidelines by following the URL. You may also want to check out SwinEmploy for resources related to selection criteria and job applications. Thank you for watching. Hope to see you again soon.
This has been a Swinburne production.